It's been a very painful experience dealing with my brother's death. So how do I start to work on this dream? What's the best image to work on? Well, I'm curious about this room. Why would this image be happening in our house in Long Beach in 1955, since I graduated high school in 58 and left town? So maybe could be 55, which is 55 years ago. Hey, that's interesting. 1955, 55 years ago, I'm having this image. But it's in the eternal messianic now, of course, so could be right now. It's a little association to Platonic anamnesis. Platonic anamnesis. An means not, amnesis to forget, not forgetting. Like Proust in Recherche du temps perdu. You see some little picture, some little image or something, and it triggers memories, brings you back into your childish past. And the Kabbalah, the association there is in Jewish point of view. So the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, as being archetypal images that we relate to in the shared history of the Bible and everything. So somehow relating everything back to those three figures, which is what we're doing here in Gestalt therapy, right? We have the awareness of the beginning awareness of the dream work. That's Abraham. We have the images that bring up all kinds of specific, concrete, here and now encounters, dialogues, which we're just starting on, and that's Isaac. The stage of the antithesis. The original state of beginning awareness of the dream is Abraham. Awareness, just to see this image of the dream, just vague image of a dream, here and now. Then as I zero in on the concrete oppositions involved in the dream work, identify with this one and that one, get more involved in that. So we move from the antithesis, the original situation, to the antithesis. So we have opposites. And that's symbolized in Judaism by by Isaac. And then finally, if and when we get to an action, or final gestalt message of the dream, existential message of the dream, or maybe it'll help me grow up a little bit, or grow a little bit, that final here and now place where things come together maybe, or maybe don't come together, whatever that final state is, but the overall process, you might say, the action, the word, another way of saying the word of God that's coming out here, if it's coming out, if we're doing the process right, all this. So that's Jacob, the middle pillar. So we have the side of the right side, right column of the Sepirot, of the tree of life, which is Abraham, Chokhmah, Chesed. Then we have the left side of the specifics. That's the Isaac side, where we have Din, Bina, everything is strictly separated. And the conflicts between all the things, that's the side of the antithesis. And finally, the middle pillar symbolizes Jacob, the overall action, where the two sides, left and right, come together. This also associates, I'm throwing in a lot of theory here, just so I'll have it here, even though I've mentioned it in other DreamWorks sessions, I'll throw it in again here just to remind you my overall context here, remind myself also. In Moreh Nevuchim, in Maimonides' Guide for the Perplexed, he has a theory of prophecy. That the Shefa, the divine overflow, whatever you want to call it, comes down from heaven or from wherever, and first reaches man through his rational side. That's the left side. So the dream work, in a sense, is the opposite. We begin on the right, but here he's talking about, well, that's because Maimonides is in the Aristotelian tradition, where the emphasis is on rationality a lot. Anyway, so the Shefa, the divine impulse, comes down on the left. Bina, Din, differentiation. So a man tries to deal with the conflicts in his life with all his wits, all his rational powers. Like, so I'm trying to deal with this dream, with the death of my brother, using all of the wits I have. And you get to a point, I get to a point when it's overwhelming, I don't know what to do with it. Do I just forget about it? Do I go deeper into it? What is mourning? How do you mourn? Am I doing it right? I don't know. So that's the point of the void, the impasse, which is an invitation to shift over to the other side, to the right side, to the side of intuition, emotions. Now, so we're back to the side of, but this time we're not just starting off from scratch, we're not just starting off from the undifferentiated state of awareness, but here we have identity and difference. We have the opposites encompassed by a bigger point of view that's struggling to emerge here from the void, and that's in the context of more Hegelian thinking, Aristotelian point of view. So the overall action here is the middle pillar would be the integration of the conflicts into a higher point of view that comes out of the struggle from the void. And so right now I'm in the void here, and this not knowing how to deal with the death of my brother, and how to deal with the streaming. But I'm starting on it. I'm starting on it. Of course, when I do dream work with a microphone in front of my nose, I never know whether I'll use it or not. So I allow myself to be free and just say whatever comes out. And I always have the option of starting all over again and doing another run. And maybe even splicing the two of them together. I don't know what's going to happen here. The dream itself is very short. So that's, in some ways that's good, because it allows me to go deep into it, like I'm already doing here. Okay, so going back to the environment of the stream, that's a good way to start. Here it is, it's a room, living room, with all kinds of associations from my childhood. And there's this greenish rug, and I have an image of myself lying on the rug. In fact, my father's sitting up there unshaven, like he would be on Sunday, and he's reading his newspaper, and the newspaper, the New York Times, is all over the floor, as usual, and I'm maybe looking at some of the pages, I don't know. I go over there and rub his cheek and get a little bit of fatherly love that was a rare commodity in those days. And I see his pipe, and maybe he's smoking his pipe, although today I wouldn't be so happy about a pipe smoker, but in those days it was just part of growing up. And he used to have a pipe rack somewhere right next to his chair, an overstuffed chair. The chair is near, if I'm looking at that wall where the piano was, so my front windows of the house are in back of me, and my father's chair is going to be way off to my left. Although my father's not in the chair in the stream. It's just Robert and my mother Jean. Okay, so I'm looking at them. And I can identify with the room. I have this living room, Franklin. I'm the living room that you grew up in. And I could see you now sitting there playing the piano, learning how to play the piano, and when you were a child, and I could see Mother singing inside of me. And I guess that's where I learned how to sing. She taught me the joy of singing. Mother, you taught me the joy of singing. And I'm this room where all this life is happening inside of me. A family growing up, and not growing old yet, but just growing up, because you left me. We all left me sometime. Franklin, you left in 1958 to go to college at Cornell. And Robert left in 1960 to go to Cortland. Robert, you left in 1960 to go to Cortland. And here you are back again. And Franklin, here you are back again. It's really a surprise to see you back here. And I see Mother and Robert, and it's like, they look like they did the good old days. They look like it could be when they were still here. When you look like you still could be here. You all could be here. Except Franklin, you seem to be in a different world than they are. They are talking, having a conversation. Excited, important conversation, and you're amazed and you're out of it. Well, I'm just watching all this go by. I'm the room. But I have a nice feeling about this family, being this family room here, where so much life is happening inside of me. So from my point of view, this is not a dream about death of Robert and Mother. This is a dream about life, about live, living memories, concrete experiences that are coming back here and now. So this is, hey, an association, techiyat ha-metim. In Hebrew, we say, bringing the dead back to life. When the Messiah comes, the dead come back to life. So here it is, the here and now. I'm working in the here and now, which, Kabbalistically speaking, is the Messianic now. And in the Messianic now, we have anamnesis, not forgetting. And if you remember the prologue of Nachman of Breslov's Likutei Moharan, his collected essays, he presents the idea of that the Torah, some say the Torah is going to be forgot, but he's going to make sure it's not forgotten. How's Nachman of Breslov make sure the Torah not forgot? He's going to keep stressing this process that we're doing now, about staying on the right side of the tree of life with the side of intuition, integration, constantly ascending through prayer. He calls it prayer. We're going to call it ascending here in the spiral of the dialectical process we're doing, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So we're going up all the time, and that puts us in the Messianic now, anamnesis. So this is a process of techiyat metim. We have these dead images of Mother and Robert. And somehow, by looking at these, you folks here, and as a point of view of this living room, of this room, that you all grew up in and lived in all these years, you're alive. Thank you for coming back to me. And so we're having a gathering of 3 people who, from some point of view, are dead, but at least from my point of view of the Messianic now here, we have bringing the dead back to life, techiyat metim, which happens when the Messiah comes. And the Messiah comes is another way of talking about the here and now, Messianic now experience. As long as we're doing it in the gestalt sense, that is, of being in the here and now and identifying with the experiences. So identifying by being this living room, I'm able to have this experience. If I were thinking about the living room, well, let's see, it's got green paint and the neighbors downstairs, on this. And the building is so many years old, and its market value is such and such. Now its market value is higher because land values went up since 1958, 50 years ago. That is not Messianic now thinking. That is just the other side, the left pillar, cause and effect thinking. But in this process, we're not doing that. We're doing the Messianic now. So from the point of view of the Messianic now, we have techiyat metim, bringing the dead back to life, and only the Messiah does that, right? Everything comes together after the death of people. When the Messiah comes in the distant future, he's always emerging at the here and now if you give him a chance, if you give it a process a chance. So here it is happening right now in the stream work. Techiyat metim. So these are not dead people, these are living people having an exciting encounter together. At least at this moment anyway, from my point of view of the living room.